my creatives, and welcome to another video. So today I'm here to share the last video for the prompts for Dephemerember, and we're starting with prompt 21, which is wax and tea bag label. So I grabbed some supplies and I went through my books I buy when I go thrifting, and I found this very old picture book with several stories and several picture things in there, and this was a little poem, so it was just this one page, and I thought it would be perfect for my prompt 21. So I'm going to take this image, and my plan is to write on the back of this journaling card how much I love snow. I adore snow. Snow is amazing. We don't get it enough in the Netherlands. Last year we had a very big snow blizzard, which I absolutely loved, and I went in the middle of the blizzard outside with Oots. He was so kind because he didn't want to go outside, but I wanted to go, so he went with me on a walk in the middle of the blizzard. It was amazing. So I will be journaling about that memory and about how much I love snow on the back of this journaling card, and that's why I chose this image. Now I'm going to add a tea bag label of one of my favorite teas. So I love the tea Autumn Storm, and I also love the tea Winter Glow from Pickwick. So I thought, well, that would be a good label to use, and also the green color matched with the dress of the girl and the book. And then I thought, but the poem is so short and I do want to have some words on this. So I thought, well, I'm just going to add the poem, and it's a Dutch poem, very old, about these three kids that they even when there's snow and when it's very cold, they go to school and that they are not afraid of the cold, and I thought it was very cute, so I added that to this page. Now, of course, I need some journaling space on the back, so I'm going to add this brown packaging paper, and I also liked that I could create a border around my image to frame it a little bit more, and now I can journal on the brown paper because this is a book page, of course, so the back had to be covered up if I want to use this as a journaling card. I'm using my Distress Oxide to etch everything, so in this particular project I mainly used Distress Oxide, vintage photo and tea dye, and I'm also going to do that for all the words. Now I cut up my strips, and I cut into one of the strips, I don't know if you can see it, yeah, that one, into the words. But instead of throwing it out and letting my perfectionism get me, I thought, well, I'm going to stick this down anyway, and I'm going to make sure that it will line up, and I don't care, because I'm going to beat my perfectionism. It's okay that there is a slit in there. I mean, it's an altered book, it's junk journal ephemera, it's handmade. These things happen, and it's okay. So recently I also bought some tickets on Etsy from some Dutch sellers. I figured out I have a lot of Dutch Etsy sellers who sell these amazing vintage ephemera. So I'm like, yes. So I went a little bit crazy on Etsy. But I bought these tickets. I thought it would be a nice backdrop and a nice change of color. And I'm also using a washi tape that has been in my stash for a very, very long time. And now I'm gluing all my pieces down on this card, and I'm very happy with how this one turned out. I don't think I have mentioned what Dephemerember is yet, but if you've been following this, you know. But for ones that see this video for the first time, Dephemerember is a December daily project by 49 Dragonflies, Barbara from 49 Dragonflies and Louisa Heinzel. They will also be linked down below in the description box, so you can check out their channels. They are amazing women and very, very inspiring. And I participated in this December daily project for 2021, and I'm sharing here my videos with you. It is super exciting. I'm very happy because I actually did all 25 prompts, which is super exciting, and I am now in the process of finishing up my altered book, so that's very, very cool. But let's go back to what I'm doing. I don't use my wax seals enough. So when I saw the prompt wax, I knew I had to do a wax seal. I am using a butterfly one because I liked it. It doesn't have to do anything with the snow or anything. But does it always need to have to do anything with the subject. I don't think so. I mean, the colors match. I love butterflies. If you are a regular watcher of mine, you know I love butterflies. So I thought this was the perfect wax seal. But it did feel a little bit clumsy. I do think that the seal came out very good, but it does feel a little bit clumsy to me because I don't use them enough. So I thought it was a perfect start. Now, this will go in that pocket there, and then that is prompt 21. Prompt 22 is mushroom and circle. So I have created in the previous video a masterboard, and I cut up all the pieces. So I thought, wouldn't it be fun if I would use a part of the masterboard to help me create my ephemera piece. Also because I already did the work, right? So why do extra work? And it will be cohesive with the rest of my journal because I already used a piece of this masterboard, or 2 pieces of this masterboard in my journal. So I decided that I wanted to have a circle on this book page. So I'm using my big jar of gesso to create a circle, and I'm going to cut that out. So this is just a regular book page from the book that I'm using. And I'm going to add my masterboard to it. So I knew that it wouldn't be big enough, but that was not the point. I wanted to have a little bit of a collage background for my mushroom, and I thought a piece of this masterboard would be great. And I actually very, very much like this because you now have on one side a beautiful book text paper, and on the other side you have the masterboard. And when you see the finished result, you don't even notice that it wasn't a complete masterboard from the beginning. So I'm tracing around my circle to make sure that I don't put glue on places where I don't want to have it. And then I'm going to line up my circle on the back, because of course these scraps of the masterboard I can use again. And after that I am checking if my mushroom will fit, and it does. I am going to cut away the excess of the masterboard, and look at that beautiful circle. I absolutely loved it. Of course it needed a little bit of inking, so I'm using my vintage photo again to ink around the edges. And I put my mushroom on there, and then I thought the white border is just a little bit too big for me. It threw me off a little bit, so I decided to cut it off and make it a little bit smaller. And then I saw my colored tape that I had laying around. So this was tape I used also in a previous video from another journal project I have not shared before. And this was left over. So I thought it would be a great layering piece. I love transparencies, and I thought it would be fun to use this also to put a little bit more warm tones in this circle because of the mushroom. Here I am again with that ticket, trying to figure out if that is what I wanted to do. But then I decided that I would like to use my stamps. So I have a newfound love and addiction, which is using stamps. And I very much enjoy them because they are great collage pieces in the background, but also a very fun in-between layer, but also a very fun focal point. So they are so versatile. It just depends on how you use them. So I'm interesting up my background, so to say, with these postage stamps. And then I am figuring out what I want to do with the mushroom. So as you can see, I'm going to glue down a piece of that ticket. You will not see that I extended my circle or my masterboard with that circle because I'm collaging over on top of it, and that is a really fun thing to do. So if you want to do this, don't worry if your masterboard pieces are too small. You can always use them again and cut them up again. So now it was time to put down my mushroom, and I very much enjoy where this is going. I have used the washi sticker, and then I decided I need a little bit of snow because white splatters is also a thing in my ephemera. So I thought this is not wintry enough. I need a little bit of snow. Also, I love the act of splattering. I don't know, I find it very relaxing. I also find it very hard to stop once I start splattering. I don't know, it's just so satisfying. So I added a few pieces and let that dry. Then I decided this tag also needs eyelets, but before I do, I need to put something on the back. I'm going to use this as well as a journaling spot, so there has to be a place to journal. But once I put the eyelet through, I cannot do this anymore. So I decided to do this immediately, and I'm using a tea-dyed piece of paper to do so. Also inking up the edges, of course, and then I will punch my hole for the eyelet. I'm using a white eyelet this time. I have also used a white eyelet before. I think it was the prompt with the snow woman. So I thought that would be fun. And I'm using a piece of, this is a piece of fabric strip that I tore off, a piece of fabric I bought at the thrift store. And it now is a beautiful twine to put in my tags. Adding a few Tim Holtz clippings words, and after that I am happy with what I created. So I'm going to add my date. I have added my date on all the pieces that I have created to document when I created something, and now I'm going to put it on a page and thinking about where I want to put it later on in my book. Now we are going to prompt 23, which is lace and timetable or calendar. Now the funny thing was, Oets and I went to a local Chinese place to order some Chinese to pick it up, and we got this calendar. So I was super excited. I thought, yes, I'm going to keep this calendar and I'm going to use it for my junk journaling, because I very much love the red, which is crazy, but still, I love the layout, I love the numbers, and I can use this in my junk journals. So I'm not using these calendars. I got two because we were with two people picking up food. So I'm going to deconstruct these calendars. I'm going to use these pieces in my junk journals or masterboards or anything, because I very, very much like the texture. I also picked a piece of lace, and I found an image in this book that I thought would work very well with my background, because it is quite neutral. So I fussy cutted that, and I also fussy cutted out the text that was with it because I love the font and I thought it would be a fun piece. And now I'm going to ink up my calendar page, and I'm going to crumple it up a little bit to make it a little bit more vintage, less new, less shiny, and I'm inking up where I'm crumpling it. I think that's a really fun effect because it is also very random, so it doesn't feel like you did that on purpose, it's just there. Also, of course, inking up the edge of the text. Now I'm going to assemble my journaling card. And first of all, I'm using some glue stick for my lace. I saw Barbara from 49 Dragonflies use glue stick to glue down these pieces of fabric, and I think it's a very good idea because lace is so delicate and glue comes through it, and I very don't like that. So I'm using my glue stick and it works very, very well. I'm also going to back this on a piece of tea-dyed paper, also because this calendar piece is super, super flimsy. So it's very thin paper. And I don't mind a little bit of a flimsy card, but not too flimsy because it couldn't really hold the lace. It was too heavy. And now it has a beautiful tea-dyed background, so I can journal on that. Putting my collage together, and then I thought something is missing. So I went back into my Post-it stamp book, which I have color coordinated. And I'm picking out 3 stamps to use in the background that fit the color. So they're more neutral brown colored stamps. And for some reason, this page gives me some New Year's vibes. So I think I am going to use this to journal about New Year's or anything like that in my journal. What I plan to do after I have finished up all the ephemera is that I will share with you how I finish up my pages, and I will share with you what I'm going to journal about. So I'm going to journal about everything December, winter or New Year's related in this particular journal, and just document some things. But I will take you through that process as well. So this series is not over once all the pieces are made. Of course, I still have to create a cohesive journal. Now, I found something was missing, so I went into my washi dot stash, and I absolutely love washi dots because they give zero bulk, but are the perfect finishing touch to any project, in my opinion. So after that, I was ready, and I have to say that I already think about where I want to put something before I start making it. So that is why I also chose that red color scheme because I knew I wanted to put it with that bird tuck spot. Prompt 24 is paperclip and fabric, and I have created these in the new year because I simply didn't get around to do so. And I saw a video from Barbara from 49 Dragonflies about hidden paperclips. Also, one of my patrons, Wendy, made hidden paperclips because she saw the video of Barbara, and I thought I need to do this too. This will be perfect for my project because there is already so much ephemera in my book and I need journaling spaces. So I thought these last two prompts could be companions of each other, and I could create a hidden paperclip. It was a lot of fun to create this. So I'm taking a book text page from an old book, and I take this image that I tore out a book about or postal system, which is very, very cool. I very much enjoy these books that talk about postal things, so I always pick them up when I see them in the thrift store. I'm of course inking up all the edges and then assembling the hidden paperclip. As you can see, you have that book page fold in half, add the paperclip, and then add that other ephemera piece or book page on top, so you don't see the paperclip, but it still functions as a paperclip. It is super cool. I very much enjoy this, and I think this will also be a lot of fun to create for Happy Mails. Now I have some scraps on my desk, which is of course one of these tickets, and we had to add some fabric. So I just put out a teeny tiny bit of fabric to add as a layering piece for my ticket, and then I decided I needed some birds. So I went through this book of birds, or all animals, but there are a lot of birds in this book. And I chose two birds because, of course, this ephemera piece has two sides to it, and you will see both sides of them. So I picked this small little bird, and I picked them because of their neutral color scheme, or a touch of red, and of their size, because that's very important that they will fit on top of this journaling card. Then I went back into my stash of clear stickers and I found this orange flower thingy I thought would fit with the ticket and would be a perfect background piece for this particular side of this hidden paperclip. So I'm going to add that, and I'm going to cut off the excess, of course, and then I will assemble my small little cluster over there. It was really fun to create something this small or tiny, or create a tiny cluster. I had a lot of fun with that, also to use a bird this small, and I absolutely love how it looks when you put it on the page. Now I already know the spot in my altered book, and there is a little bit of blue in there, so I decided to add some blue washi dots to connect the ephemera pieces together. And after I did that, in the background I'm going to stick down my little cluster, and after that I'm happy with this side. But of course we also have the other side, and on the other side there is this beautiful stamp and this mark, so I didn't want to cover them up, but it was a little bit bare like this, so I went back into my stamp stash, and I took two stamps, a blue one and a red one, to connect those colors again into this piece. And now you are going to see me fuss around with how to glue this, because I was quite particular on how I wanted to have things, and I just didn't manage. So I left this in to show you that I also struggle when gluing things down. I tried to do the top-down method, but the fabric was moving and the stamps were moving, and then the bird was not on the right spot because it still was hanging off. And then I decided, okay, I'm just going to do this differently, because I knew I wanted to have that top stamp like this, and I wanted to have the bottom stamp a certain way in comparison with the mark that was there. So I took the whole thing apart and I decided to glue every piece on its own. So I'm taking here the bird, and I'm going to put that piece of fabric down because that was the one that gave me a lot of trouble. And after that, now I'm happy. So for me, sometimes the gluing is also so it's a thing I struggle with. Adding more washi dots because I also added them on the other side, and because I love it very much. And after I did that, I am going to add some words because I felt something was missing. So on the top, I thought I wanted to have it on the top because there was something missing, but it didn't go. The word didn't go. In the end, I decided to add my date over there. And I'm also going to add a little word on the other side. Going into my altered book, and I am going to add this piece. Look at how cool this works. So you open it up, put it on, and then it is a paperclip. Super cool. Now the last prompt was wood and packaging, and I decided to take some pattern paper with a wood grain and packaging to do the smooshing technique because I wanted to have a journaling card for that hidden paperclip. And I'm taking this pretty blue toned, neutral colored wood grain because I thought it would be a nice background and would fit with what I was already doing. And I wanted to use my tea dye and vintage photo to do the smooshing technique. So I put a little bit of that on my plastic and then I smoosh it on the background. Of course, cleaning in between because you do not want to contaminate your ink pads. So make sure that everything is off the plastic and off your table when you go in for the second color. And just spray it with water and smoosh it. It's so much fun. You can do it with a lot of colors, but I really enjoy this process. Just make sure that you clean in between and that you dry your layers in between. I wanted to edge my edges with vintage photo to make them stand out a little bit more. And then I went into this book and I found this girl and I thought that she would be perfect on this journaling card. So I'm going to take her out of this book. I'm going to rip her out and I will struggle. I will struggle a lot. So I take the girl, put her on the card, and I thought, no, that's too big. So I'm going to tear it down. As I was tearing it down, I thought, but that will cover up everything, and it's so rectangular. So I decided to fussy tear, as I see others do. And I loved that look. So I put a little bit of vintage photo around her, and I loved her. But then I don't know what happened. I just couldn't figure it out what I wanted to do. So I take some of these scrap pieces of wood grain paper. I thought that would help, but I really didn't like it. So I thought maybe I need to move it forward. So I'm taking some book text paper and I'm going to put that behind her to create an extra layer, but I also didn't feel it. I don't know. Sometimes you have these pieces that you just don't feel it, and it just doesn't work. So I decided, after fiddling around quite a bit with my pieces, and also this didn't give me any joy. So I didn't have fun anymore. I was just struggling and I didn't like it. So I decided, okay, scratch the whole thing. I am taking a new image. So I went back into the book. I had some relaxing flipping through the book time. And then I found this gnome sitting with wood in a circle. And I thought, that might work. So I tore him out of the book and his size was perfect. I grabbed the doily, which was also perfect. You have this beautiful font in there that I thought would be great as a layering piece. So I took a little piece of that font and I'm tearing it in half, and this just flew together. So don't be afraid if you wanted to use a certain piece but it just doesn't work. Don't be afraid to change it, because you are allowed to change it. I mean, it's your journal. You don't have to stick to things you think of before you start. You can change whenever you want. It's your ephemera, it's your pieces. And I think the most important thing is that you should enjoy the process and not feel, stressed out about it or are not having fun. Because the main reason for doing this is to have fun and to relax. For me, I need crafting for my mental health, to relax and to be just in the moment and to create something. So if it is giving me a hard time, I am allowed to just change up my plan completely. So I'm very happy I did, because I absolutely love how this journaling card turned out, and it came together so quickly. So I'm gluing down my doily with some tape and tape runner because glue seeps through the doily and I really don't like wet glue. I also don't like to use glue stick because then the doily might tear or it will also seep through and it gets a mess. So I tend to use tape for doilies. Then I am using these clear stickers and I'm doing the handy little trick again to just snip off a little bit of the acetate backing to make sure that I could line it up properly. And then only stick down a little piece before removing the whole back, and it really helps with your collage and lining up your pieces. Now it's time to glue down my circle element, and you just saw why I love to use wet glue, because I glued it down crooked. But luckily with the wet glue I was able to fix that, and I'm putting on the other pieces and finally ending it with this beautiful mushroom. But then I thought I need a touch of winter, so I'm grabbing my gesso again and I'm putting some on the lid, spraying it with water, taking a brush, and I'm going to splatter my gesso on top of this card, because it does feel like the start of winter, right? When you move from fall or autumn into winter, the first snow. It looks so exciting. I love it. I was happy with that. I dried everything, and after that I was ready to put it in my book underneath the paperclip. So this was all the ephemera that I created for Dephemerember. You can watch the previous videos to see how I created everything. But I will also upload Dephemerember ephemera wrap-up to share everything with you how it is right now in my book before I start finishing all the pages, which I will also share with you in this series. So this series is nowhere to be done yet. I will share everything with you from start to finish on how I finish everything in this journal. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you all next time. Bye!